He knew them both.
I knew them both.
Okay,
yeah.
good. We're standing by here in Boston. We're expecting a news conference to be beginning shortly, a news conference with the authorities on this massive manhunt underway for the remaining surviving suspect. 2 suspects, 1 dead, 2 brothers, the other one still on the loose, 19-year-old Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. We're going to get that news conference shortly. We're also standing by to speak with the father of these 2 suspects. He's in Dagestan right now. That's part of Russia. We hope to connect with him on the phone. We've had some problems, some technical problems, but we hope to speak with the father, Anver Tsarnaev, shortly. Luis Vasquez knew both of these suspects going back to their years in high school. He posted a local blog that they say he says they never showed any sign, either one of them, of wanting to hurt anyone. Luis is here with us right now. Luis, thanks very much. Tell us about these 2 brothers. Give us, first of all, the nature of your relationship that you had over the years with them.
I knew the older brother just from the passing. My wife was a good friend of his sister's. So just through him being a protective big brother, I got to know him and really got to personalize with him in a way that many people didn't get to do.
What was he like?
He was more of a serious guy, more so than his brother. His brother was a little more charismatic than him. He was a little more just a private person, but he was very friendly. He would welcome conversations with somebody. He was very approachable, but some people got the wrong impression of him because he was protective over his sister. But he was a great guy. He really was.
This is the older brother who died overnight, 26 years old, Tamerlan. Is that how he pronounced his name? Tamerlan. So you knew him as Tamerlan.
Yes.
And did you know the younger brother also?
My only interactions with the younger brother was a positive thing. It was when I went back to my high school and I was the assistant varsity coach for Cambridge Latin, and he was on the JV, and I would help out with that team sometimes.
On the wrestling?
I'm sorry, soccer.
He played soccer also? Because we know he was on the wrestling team as well.
Yes.
And so what was he like?
He was just like the other kids. He blended in. He was outgoing. He was a great person. He was willing to learn. He was a great listener, and he never stood out. He never was... in a negative way. There was never anything, quote-unquote, weird about him that would separate himself from the others.
What kind of relationship did these 2 brothers have, based on your interactions with them?
Right. I never saw them together, and I think that was because the big age difference, I believe, is 7. I didn't see them together, and I really feel like that the little brother was more of a follower in this case, which doesn't make it right at all. This is very horrendous. It's insulting what they did. And to me, and to many people that knew them on a personal level, whether it be on the street or in high school, the crime doesn't fit the personalities.
I mean, you knew these guys. You didn't necessarily know them all that well. Can you believe they would do what they are suspected of having done, take 2 bombs to the end of the Boston Marathon?
Never.
Bombs in a pressure cooker that included shrapnel inside to kill and maim as many people as possible. You believe that these 2 guys were capable of doing that?
I would never believe that they were capable of doing that. And the mystery that I think many of us are curious about is what happened in the past year that made them just something clicked negatively in their minds, or someone brainwashed them to do something so bad like this. Why? Because what happened this week is not a representation of the memories.
You knew their sister or sisters as well?
I knew one of the sisters.
And what is she like? Older, younger?
She was in the middle of them. I think she's 24 years old right now.
Yeah.
And she was very friendly. Again, very approachable. They were all normal.
Seemed like normal American kids, if you will.
Right.
Going to high school, the younger one and the older one. And you had no indication that they were politicized or hateful or seeking revenge or angry or anything along those lines.
Right. And not only were they normal kids, but to be from Cambridge, my hometown, is something very special that I think a lot of people from here on out are going to get the wrong impression of Cambridge, because when you say Cambridge now, they're going to think of these suspects. And they were regular Cambridge kids. And being a Cambridge kid, we hold a lot of pride in that. And this doesn't fit who they were.
If he's watching right now, this 19-year-old younger brother, the suspect right now, and he knows you, speak to him from the heart, what would you say to him?
Turn yourself in. Turn yourself in. That's the smartest thing you can do right now. You can't get any lower than this. Don't do it to yourself. You still have opportunities out there. You can still do many things, and you can still touch many lives. believe in yourself. Just do the right thing. You got it in you.
I hope he's watching, and I hope he's listening to you before this second brother winds up like his older brother,
Absolutely.
Which is obviously very, very possible given the nature of this manhunt. When you saw yesterday, I assume you were watching as the FBI released the photos, the video of these two suspects. Did you immediately put two and two together and say to yourself, I know these guys?
I did not. I did not, and I'll tell you why. The pictures that were released, they were pixelated, and the older brother was sporting a different look than what I remember. He never wore a hat. He had your look. He had a nice beard, tightly trimmed, and he was clean shaven in the picture. He had glasses on. He had a hat on. It's not what I remember.
He always had a beard?
He always had a beard. He did.
So do you think he shaved his beard deliberately to change his identity or something like that?
I can't speak to that because I didn't see him. I haven't seen him in a year.
When you saw him
2 years.
Without the beard, you didn't put two and two together. You didn't recognize him.
No, that could have been anybody, especially with the disguise he had on. To me, it's a disguise. And the younger brother, when I coached him a few years ago, he had more of a baby face. He didn't look the way he does, especially when it's pixelated. He looked a little older. He had some facial hair, longer hair, very scruffy. So it could have been anyone.
When you heard that these were the two suspects were the two guys that you knew, what was your immediate reaction?
It was tough to swallow. It really was, because putting two and two together, like you said, it didn't equal out. It wasn't the right thing in my mind to believe that the memories that I have of them could fill what happened. Pointing fingers at them wasn't something that was possible. And I was still hoping for those little chances that it couldn't have been them. But all signs are pointing towards them being the suspects, and that's incredibly insulting to me, again, and to many people.
We are hearing the same story from a lot of the people who knew these two suspects, similar words to what you're saying right now. And if he's watching, this 19-year-old, I hope he's paying attention to what you just said, so he avoids what happened, obviously, to his older brother,
right.
Luis Vasquez. Thanks very much for joining us.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The father of the bombing suspects is now living in Russia and Dagestan. He insists his sons did not carry out the bombings. We're trying to connect with the father live here on the phone. He did speak out earlier. CNN's Phil Black is joining us from Moscow right now. He's joining us live. Phil, tell us what the father, his name is Anvar Tsarnaev, tell us what he said earlier. And once again, we're hoping to speak with him shortly.
Yes, indeed. Well, the parents moved back to Dagestan here in Russia only recently, after living the last 10 years or so in the United States with their family and their children, where they said they initially moved to try and give their children a better life. I spoke to them. I spoke to the father on the phone a short time ago. He is distraught. He is angry, especially when talking about the death of his eldest son. But they also spoke today. They gave an interview with a local Dagestani TV network, which we're going to show that to you now.
Someone framed them. I don't know who exactly did it, but someone did. And being cowards, they shot the boy dead. There are cops like this.
When you try calling the younger one, the phone is off?
All phones are switched off. I can't even get through to my brothers. One of them is a great lawyer, and I can't get through to him. I want to get more information. Those are my kids, you understand? I'm afraid for my other boy. Maybe he will be shot dead too. They will say, well, he had weapons. Kids with weapons? You don't find weapons in a garbage dump. I have nothing more to say. It's all because I'm afraid for my son and his life. They should arrest him, maybe, and bring him, but alive, alive. And justice should decide who's right and who is guilty.
You've been living there for a long time. Have you ever had any complaints about the justice there?
No, never. But I didn't ever face it. So how can I know about the justice system there? I didn't have any problems.
The day before you spoke to your elder son, what did he tell you?
He said everything was okay. I even asked him, how's Johar? Did you help him, look after him, and make sure he's studying well? So he would spend less time with friends and more time studying? You quit the university because you got married early. So let the kid at least graduate. Because in this life, a person who doesn't learn is working hard. That's why I'm always telling them, study, study, study.
Did you talk about this explosion and what happened there?
No, not at all. Thank Allah that they were not there and didn't suffer. This is it. So what explosion? I honestly can't imagine who could do this. Whoever did it is a bastard. I have nothing more to say.
Wolf, the parents describe their sons as very religious. They say they are not dangerous. They say they are peaceful. And they both believe there is absolutely no way their sons had anything to do with the attack in Boston. Earlier on Friday, Anzor Tsarnaev told me that he was taken into custody by Russian security services, questioned for several hours about his sons, but then eventually released. Wolf.
Phil Black, we're going to stay in touch with you. Once again, we're trying to connect directly with the father of these two suspects. We'll have that interview here on CNN as soon as we manage to reestablish contact with the father of these two suspects. Also, we're standing by for a news conference any moment now. It's getting ready to begin with the latest on the investigation, the manhunt underway. You'll see it live here on CNN. And the mother of both suspects is also speaking out, insisting her sons couldn't have possibly done what they are suspected of having done. We're going to hear from her and a lot more of the breaking news when we come back.